Howdy folks, Morgoth the Barbarian here, and welcome to a different type of video. Today I'm going to do something a little bit interesting here. I am going to tier list every single Battlefield 1 map. I haven't really done any tier lists on YouTube here, so I figured today would be a nice time to do it. You know, just because you've seen me play a lot of Battlefield 1, upload a lot of videos and what have you. Also, I might live stream this if we get 100 subs on here, and by that I mean, of course I will, so you can watch me physically torture myself or something along those lines. I don't know. Okay, just kidding. Anyways, but I figured today I would tier list all the 29 maps on here. No, I'm not doing the 2 Air Assault ones. Those don't count, and I've never played Air Assault for some weird reason. Or good reason, depending on if you know that I don't fly planes or suck at doing so. But that's not important. We have here all 29 maps, and I'm going to tier list all of them based upon how I've felt about playing them over the years. I've been playing this game on and off for 7 years, and I've played all of these maps enough to know how good they are. Or how bad, because some of these are, yikes. I'll just leave it at that. So anyways, we have all the pictures of the maps here and our tiers. And I've ranked them all in like a grading scale. A through F, of course. And of course, some maps are just so good that they're on kind of their own level. They're God tier. And then you have the maps that are just so bad, you wonder if they should be in Battlefield 2042 starter pack. And believe me, we all know how bad those maps are. I mean, if I were to tier those, that would just be an outright disaster. There'd probably only be one A tier map, and that's being nice. I'll just leave it at that and save that for a potential future video. Speaking of which, if you like this idea, you know what buttons to hit, and heck, let me know in the comments section whether you agree or disagree with this list. Alright, enough talking. Time for the rankings and the reason why I'm putting these on here. So, very first one we have, I believe that is Achi Baba, if I'm reading this correctly. That's gotta be Achi Baba. Hold on, I'm a little unfamiliar. These weren't exactly in any order. I was hoping they would be, but it looks like they're in alphabetical order or something. I have no idea. I'm going to assume that's Achi Baba right from the start. There's only one place to put this. At God tier. Yeah, that's gotta go in God tier. I don't care what any of y'all think. That is a God tier map. No arguments needed. Don't at me. Come on, man. It's like one of the best maps in the whole game. I mean, infantry only. Like, no vehicles. Excellent layout. What more do you want, okay? Excellent setting. I mean, good grief. That one is just so obvious, okay? Alright, Albion. This is a map I don't really play. By the way, I'm only ranking these on Conquest, since that's usually my preferred mode. And not all of these are on Operations anyway, so that's kind of unfair to rank it based off of that. Maybe if this were Battlefield 5 in 2042 rankings, I would do that, but not in this one, so it's Conquest only, so. Albion. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really play very much of this, if at all, and if I'm being honest, realistically, the only good part of this is the middle part of the map, where like between, I believe it's like the CDE objective and that little island in the middle. There's like 3 islands there. There's the one main island and then the 2 mainland parts of Albion. I'm not a fan of either of that, and so I guess it's a D tier. I mean, you can have some fun in it with the water vehicles and what have you, but it's not really my favorite. And I haven't really played it very much either. I mean, the lighthouse looks cool, but I mean, if we're going by playstyle, it's probably not the best of all, so. Yeah, I would put this in the D tier. I'd be tempted to put it in F, but so be it. Has to be Argonne Forest, I take it, and it is. I'm putting this in the A tier. I'm kind of contemplating putting this in God tier status, but I don't think it plays that well at times. There's a lot of rocks, and vaulting in Battlefield 1, let alone movement, can be a pain in the you-know-what. And grenade spam can be a problem, especially in the corridors. But other than that, if you know what you're doing, I mean, this can be a very fun map on Conquest. It's definitely a great experience being infantry only and what have you. So, I mean, I know there's a train too, but that doesn't really count. You don't even get that every game, and sometimes it's on your side, but yeah, I think this game's pretty nice. There's also some great flanking opportunities here, too, if you can find them. So, very well done map, but if it wasn't for the grenade spam, this would go on the God tier status. It's very close. Ballroom Blitz. I'll do this one first before I try to figure out what on earth is this one. I have a bad feeling I know what this is anyways. Ballroom Blitz. It's mid. I'm sorry, it's mid. I mean, too many places to camp. That seems to be a disturbing theme in Battlefield 1 anyways. There's like a lot of good... If it's camp heavy, it's going to get shifted down towards the bottom here. I mean, it's a very decent map. But man, the amount of sniper camping I see on this is just obscene, and it kind of ruins it. Plus, it really is the only good spot is the castle itself, and there's only one objective there. So I would put that in the C tier, but it's quite a nice playing map overall, but man, it's just too camp heavy. How appropriate. C is for camper, and so is Ballroom Blitz for that matter, so that's a C tier map. This looks like Lupkow Pass. No, Brusov Keep, excuse me, and it is. Oh, I haven't played this one in a hot minute. But I'm going to throw this in the B tier. I actually think it's a little underrated. Like Argonne, it too doesn't have vehicles except for the train, although it's placed a bit closer to the thing. It's small, there's 4 objectives. A lot of houses that I feel like were unnecessary, but otherwise, this plays a lot better, and this might be one of the more underrated maps in the entire game. Like, I don't think it gets its flowers too much, but that's because it's on the, in the name of the Tsar expansion, too. So I would set this on a B tier, nothing more. Heligoland Blight! The one with all the ships! You know, if you like ships, this would be a higher tier, and I definitely would say it's something different, for real. May not be the best infantry rides, but so be it. So I'm tempted to put this in B, but here's the problem. It's a Conquest Assault map. Conquest Assault maps automatically get 1 tier deduction on the grounds of that game mode being absolute, dog water. We'll just leave it at that. Wait, is this even... This might be Cape Helles. Hold on, excuse me, I think I spoke too soon. And it is Cape Helles! Well, I clearly don't know what any map is in this game. Okay, I stand corrected. Apologies for that. It's Cape Helles. Alright, it's still C tier. It's still a Conquest Assault map anyways. Conquest Assault, that game mode is dog water. I'm sorry. I don't know who came up with that, but... yeah, I mean... I would put this as in the C tier. It's got a lot of good trenches, but, you know, it's way too hilly. It's Conquest Assault. It's a little open. I mean, you can maneuver around through it, but so be... You know what? I'm actually going to put it in B tier. Which means it would have gotten A if it wasn't for Conquest Assault, but yeah, B tier is fine. I'm not sure which one of these is Heligoland Blight, which is the one I was going after, but oops, my bad. Alright, next up we got Fao Fortress, because I have no idea what either one of these 2 maps are, and I'll figure it out at some point. Fao. I hate Fao Fortress. I absolutely hate this one. This one is just... I've never had a good game or experience on it. It is too open. The fortress is way too out in left field, which is you would think would be where all the action is, but someone decided to put it in the south part of the map. I mean, other than that, the objectives are just so spread out. You know what? I would put this in F, but this feels like a 2042 map, and that's where you're going. Get out of here. I do not mess around with Fao. This map is just absolute dog water garbage, whatever that's supposed to mean. But yeah, no thank you. I am not messing around with this map. No thanks. Fao, I'm sorry that you are terrible. Get out of here. Oh, man. And that's not even the map I meant to put over here, but hey, it deserves to be here. Oh, you know what? I just found where Heligoland Blight was. Remember how I said earlier it was okay, but not okay? We'll put it in C. Yeah, it had all the water combat and all that fun stuff. There it is. I recognize that lighthouse from anywhere. Okay, this is Heligoland Blight. Forgive me about that, so we'll rank it. Oh, look what's next. Fort of Vaux. Okay, this has got to go in God tier. I mean, it's got to go there. It's like Achi Baba. Infantry only, just insanity. Say what you want about the grenade spam. It is dealable, but man, oh man, this map is just, it's just tons of fun. I tend to pop off on this one quite a bit, as if you may or not have noticed, but again, the grenade spam's really the only thing, but I'm willing to accept that. But yeah, it's just an absolute true. If you want a PTFO, this is the map for you. It's just all sorts of fun. Oh, look at this. And then the next one is, if this is what I think it is, then I know where it's going. I believe that is it, right? Is this what I'm thinking it is? Up it is. It's Galicia. Yeah, that one is obvious. Extremely obvious. In fact, you know what? Fao, congratulations. You've been upgraded to an F because this map is just one of the worst I've ever seen. This is a true 2042 knockoff right here. This map, at least you can do stuff in the interior, so it saves it. The fort, if you can actually get there. This one is just hot garbage, plus, plus, plus. I mean, my God. Put this one in 2042. I mean, good grief. Open, wide open. Half the map isn't even used. There's like a random trench, but there's nothing that's going on. That's like the only safe spot. Camping snipers up the wazoo. The breakthrough mode's even worse, or operations, or whatever you want to call it. It's 10 times worse. Never had a good game on this. I refuse to even participate on this. Good grief. Send this one to 2042. This is probably where they got their inspiration from. My God. No, thank you. No, no, and even bigger no. Get out of here. All right, we're done with that. Don't know what this is quite yet, but I'm going to assume this is Lupkow Pass. Yeah, it is. I mean, I guess it's kind of playable, but not entirely. I'm going to stuff it in the D tier. It is playable to an extent, but once again, it's kind of open. That seems to be a disturbing theme with a lot of these Russian maps, too. The Tsar ones. But yeah, that map is... Oh, okay, I'm going to throw it in the C tier. You get an upgrade. It's mid. It is playable at times, but, you know, there's a lot of hills for camp sniping. The map is a little open, but it is somewhat playable, so we'll leave it as is. Monte Grappa. I recognize this map. I'm going to throw it in the A tier. It's nice and small. I mean, it's got the hill and everything. But the issue here is, once again, camping snipers are a problem. And if the enemy kind of controls the hill, you're kind of screwed. And there's also the bunkers to deal with and B and D objectives. Also, getting up and down the hill can be a bit of a challenge, too. And with all this in mind, I think that deserves a B tier. But it's still a really excellent map, in my opinion. This one's pretty nice. So this one, I think, gets a B tier. It's also really good on breakthrough as well, and front lines, which I played not which I posted on here not that long ago, so feel free to check that video out. But yeah, this map, that's pretty good. Always a good time. Neville Knights. This one pains me, and Prise de Tahure is going to fall in this category too. I would love to put this in the A tier. I would. Here's the problem. The only way to play this is if you turn your brightness up to 75. I've had to do that because it's way too dark. And if you don't do that, it becomes next to impossible to see enemies. It's a really fun map, but I have to just penalize it a grade just because of the brightness thing. And Prise de Tahure is going to get the same treatment as well. So unfortunately, I am giving it in the B. This is an underrated map in my opinion, as is Prise de Tahure. I actually see it, so I'll rank that one next. But in fact, Prise de Tahure is also going in the B tier. I see you there. Long story short, you have to crank up your brightness at the beginning of each game to play these, and it's so annoying. Although Prise de Tahure is more of a maze than anything else, so I'd have to pull it down to mid. I can see why people don't like it. It's too much of a maze. But they're both good infantry-only maps. They're both good action. It's just, you know, the whole, you have to put your brightness up all the way. Prise is more of a maze type of deal, where you've got 5 objectives in a circle, and it's just causing all sorts of chaos. But, I mean, it's okay. But yeah, I have to pull this in the D tier C tier just for that reason. Not D, excuse me. What do we have here? Is this Passchendaele? Now here's a map that's underrated in my opinion. I don't think this one gets enough respect, probably because it's among the Apocalypse maps, which looks like it's the next two. I recognize this as River Somme. But, you know, I mean, there's a lot of cover and everywhere, and enemies can just pop out of left field. I mean, the trench, getting to and from the objective is fine, and the trench warfare can be quite fun. But there's some spots where, you know, you've got, like, if you don't check corners, I feel like you can die around them way too easily. And it's just all sorts of, too much to follow along and a bit too open in spots. So I'm going to put it in the B tier. It's a nice infantry map. Vehicles are okay too, excuse me. But otherwise, this is a nice map overall. River Somme, I'm putting this in A. I can't put it in God tier level just for, because it probably doesn't get played enough. And it's also Conquest Assault, which, way to ruin it, DICE. I would put this on God tier, but because of Conquest Assault, it's another one of those, I have to stop it in its tracks. But yes, this is an A tier map, regardless, assuming you can get past the A objective and the fact that everyone's spawning right in front of your face. I mean, come on, Conquest Assault, what are we doing here? But anyways, enough about bad game modes. I mean, this is a really fun map overall, though. You got a lot of trench warfare. Going over the top is quite risky, but it can work out. The objectives are well spaced. It's just a lot of fun overall. But again, if it wasn't Conquest Assault, it'd be over here, not down here. We can't do that with Conquest Assault, because Conquest Assault sucks. But so, A tier it is. And again, it's probably not played as much because of the Apocalypse game mode, but so be it. Rupture! I recognize this one. This one's actually a little bit better than it appears. I'm throwing this in the B tier. It's not exactly my cup of tea on the surface, but I'll allow it. This actually isn't too bad. I mean, Rupture has the bridge in the middle, the objectives on either side, so it's nice and well spaced. And there's a lot of good opportunities for, like, sniping, like, flanking, vehicle gameplay. It's just actually more of a nice little well-rounded map than it lets off. There's a lot of different play styles you can do here. The only thing I'd probably complain about is the camp sniping at times. But otherwise, this is a really solid map. I'm tempted to put this in the A tier. Nah, I'll leave it in B. Just because the bridge parts can be a little confusing. I absolutely hate standing on the upper part of the bridge because it's like your like target practice for snipers. Although you can go underneath though too. That's the other part. You know what? A tier. This is actually a better map than it lets on. So A tier it is. Is this Sinai or Suez? It's Sinai because this is Suez. Sinai. This is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but I don't like this map. It's going in the F tier. I know some of y'all will be like, but we like it. What the heck, man? You do realize if you're saying that, you're probably a camping sniper. So, first off, get out. Second off, I don't like how wide open it is. Third, the G objective at the bottom is just absolutely one of the most useless objectives I've ever seen. And if it wasn't there, this would make it a linear horseshoe, which is even worse. It's just too open. The village is literally the only good spot, and even then, it depends on how many people are camp sniping. And oh, by the way, there's that giant that I mentioned, the camp sniping rock that near A and B. Yeah, no, that's just, oh my god. Why do we even have that? This is just one of the worst maps ever. It's not Galicia level bad because at least it's somewhat playable like Fao, but come on, this map is just horrible for multiple reasons. Ugh, no thank you. I try to avoid this whenever I can. Soissons! It's a D tier map because one team has a hill and the other team does not. I don't understand that one. Also, the objectives are placed in an S shape. I also don't understand that one, but alas, here we are. I mean, it can be fun at times. I don't know why. It's just the village has one objective to it. That makes no sense. And then you've got ruins, a trench. It's like they tried to throw everything into one map and call it a day. So, I mean, I don't know. It just feels like it's way too all over the place. It is playable, but, you know, with one team getting a hill and everything, it's just not that good fun. So, I'll leave it in the D tier for right now. This has to be St. Quinten Scar, I take it, right? Yeah, this is probably St. Quinten Scar. This is a mid map. It's definitely pretty playable in my opinion, for sure. But the village is nice to fight in too. Problem is, if that goes and you're trying to advance on, say, B and F, or C even, what I find is that there's a lot of people just camp sniping. Like I said, C is for camper, so it's an appropriate spot for it, but still, it can be a nice map overall, just to fight in, and there's plenty of objectives and all that, so I would give this a C tier, but it's mid, but it's nice, but it's a little openish. I mean, it's good, but hey, it's not that bad. Next up is Suez, and this one's going to be a little baffling, but it's going in the F tier. Here's the deal. I mean, the villages are nice urban combat, the B and D ones. The C can be convoluted for pushing, though. The outer ones are kind of useless, A and B, E. But here's why this ends up in F. And then, of course, there's the behemoth being absolutely useless as it's out in left field. But here's why it ends up here. If the enemy team gets the village closest to your start, it's game over. It's an automatic game over, and I've seen so many blowouts in this map, it's not even funny. You get like these 200, 300 games, and it's just like, really? Come on, what are we doing here? I think part of it's because half the team decides to camp snipe, but the other half could be just a design issue, and this map is just terrible. I mean, such a shame for such a good, what seems to be a good map on the surface, but my goodness, it's just bad. So this ends up on the F tier. It's not a 2042 map by any means, but it's not anything good either. I'm sitting in the F. I mean, I'm sorry. I've seen too many one-sided games on this, and there's probably a reason for that. Onward to Tsaritsyn, and this one's mid. Look, I've had some good games recently on this. The free objective thing is nice. The problem is this is way too camp-heavy, so naturally it belongs in this one. You either have snipers on the ends, Or everybody's sitting on the second level of this, and once you get there, it becomes next to impossible to lodge the enemy team off of it. It's just a camper's paradise, and I don't like it at all. I absolutely hate these kinds of maps. Even worse, once one team seems to get B, you can't seem to get it. I don't know why. It's just, again, that second level of the church is probably the reason why. Otherwise, this one seems like it's pretty playable. I mean, maybe part of it's my own doing for how I play it, but yeah, I think this one is not really the best, so it's a C tier. It's kind of mid. Otherwise, it can be fun. Verdun Heights. This one's got to go in A tier. I could argue that maybe it goes in God level. I mean, it has a hill. You know what? That's kind of a surprise to me. I was not expecting to put it up there, but, it's a nice infantry-only map. It's got 5 objectives, a lot of action all over the place, a lot of good movement, free movement throughout the map. I know the inside of B the basement can be a pain in the you-know-what. And same with the village at times. But this is quite a nice map. Yeah, it's A. It's A. Okay, now I'm torn because it does play really nicely whenever I've gone to it. Yeah, it's God level. It's actually a much better map than it lets on. I wish this was part of the normal playlist, but this is definitely a good favorite. It's just all around good fun. I wish I could be on it a lot more often, but Verdun Heights, that's a God tier map. I take it this is Volga River. This has to be by process of elimination. I don't know what maps I'm left with. I see Zeebrugge Harbor's next to it. Volga's mid. Volga's mid. It's a little bit too open, but it still plays nicely, unlike its Russian counterparts. I noticed everything but the Brusov Keep is in the mid or below. That's probably no coincidence. But anyways, yeah, this map is kind of good for the most part. I mean, you can move around somewhat decently, and there's not too confusing, but it's a little too open too. I mean, you don't have to deal with any airplanes, which is a plus, but yeah, I just don't have too many good opinions on this one for the most part. I mean, fighting in the church can be fun, fighting in that small little trench area, and then pushing can become a little bit of an annoying risk. But for the most part, I think this is a mid-tier map. Although, I don't really deal with too many campers on this one. You know what? You get to be pushed up a level. I think it's actually a little bit better than it lets on Volga River. So, B it is. And then I mentioned Zeebrugge Harbor. Yeah, another conquest assault, and it's mid to begin with. So it's going into D. I mean, not that good of a map overall. I mean, all the objectives are in one little harbor, save for A, which is in the pier, which is separated by water, which is so annoying. It's conquest assault, so you have to be very careful of how you land. I mean, fighting on the pier is good, but it's linear, which is another huge problem. Other than that, it's just, a compounding mess where, unless you're in a sea vehicle or in an air vehicle, it's just not really that great. And with all the objectives smashed near each other in linear, it's just not that great. So, D tier it is. All right, let me try to figure out which ones these are. And by process of elimination, I think I know what this one is. And I think I know what this one is. This has to be Amiens, doesn't it? I'm going to go out on a limb and say because it's a train and because of the city, this is Amiens. And I have not ranked it. Which is a shame because it deserves to be on God level. Anyone who disagrees with that, you have no idea what you're talking about. Sure, there's all the buildings and stuff, but at least unlike, say, a certain 2042 map that just got released, Haven, this one actually functions very well as a city map. If you don't believe me, play both of those maps, and you'll quickly realize why Amiens is so much superior. But yes, it's all sorts of risky fun, all sorts of craziness, vehicles coming around, that can be an issue. But otherwise, there's a lot of like good that comes out of this map. It's all around one of the best maps in the whole game, one of the best city maps ever in Battlefield history. So, at least that I've played. So, yeah, Amiens has to go in the God tier level. There's no way around it. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is probably Empire's Edge by how this looks. Do I have that correctly? You know what? Close enough. I think it is Empire's Edge. And this is going in D. I really don't have too much fun on this one. And it's also a lot more camp heavy, especially that one hill that overlooks C and D. You know which one I'm talking about. Yeah, this is just a camper's paradise, and it's just too open. It's just a little bit too large. The coastal batteries are absolutely useless. Otherwise, this map is actually pretty good from what I can tell, so... It's not F level bad, but it's not mid either. I'd say it's, not that great. I mean, there's fun to be had, but not much, so I would go D tier on this one. Okay, so by process of elimination, one of these is Caporetto, which is this one, and one of these is Giant Shadow, which is just a weird look for it. I would have put the blimp if I were you. Caporetto, you go first, and you're F. You're F. You're a Conquest Assault for starters, but this one is just horrible for every reason imaginable. You know what? Galicia needs a friend. There you go. You can be in the 2042 department. This map is just horrible for every reason conceivable. It's Conquest Assault. It's too open. There's not enough cover. The objectives are quite spread out. It's linear. The airplanes and cavalry can be annoying, and there's no vehicles, by the way. Sure, you got those cool Livens projectors, but that's literally the only fun part about this. It's just, and then there's too many places that people can just sit in. Yeah, this is a perfect, that sounds like 2042. I don't know what does. This is the perfect map for that game. You know what? Get out of here. Caporetto, I don't like you. And how was this the last map released in the game? That's just a sour way to end. My goodness. Alright, so by process elimination, this has to be Giant Shadow, and I'm putting this in the mid department, so we'll round this out with a mid-tier map, I'm afraid. Giant Shadow, I'm assuming that's what you are. You are in the C tier. Long story short, this map is a little like Caporetto, kind of open, but there are fun places you can advance on. I mean, vehicle combat can be fun, too, on this degree. But I feel like advancing can be quite difficult at times. It's a little bit too open in places. The blimp is quite nice. Fighting in there is pretty cool. And fighting on the sides in the B and E. But getting to A, the rail yard, and the village on the other sides, A and F, can be a pain in the you-know-what. And trying to advance too. And there's also quite a bit too many camping opportunities, so I guess this is appropriate for Giant Shadow. So, C it is. So, I think the conclusion here is that Achi Baba, Fort of Vaux, Verdun Heights, and Amiens, and these three in the A tier should be their own playlist, because if there is, and maybe a couple from here, because if there isn't, well, that's just a shame. And that clearly the current DICE's current crew got ideas from Galicia and Caporetto for their current game, because those maps just suck. But other than that, this is the tier list. This is the final result. And now I want to know from you guys how well you feel about this list. What would you change out of this? What would be your own personal tier list? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. You know what buttons to hit. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the battlefield or wherever. Thanks, everyone.